Hello, everybody. I know that's loud. Sorry. I'm trying to adjust. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. You're late. I've been waiting for you since 4. Peter, I'm so sorry. I fell asleep. I feel so bad. I woke up this morning with my husband at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. our time because he was leaving for work. And I was just like, that's our universal sign. We're awake and we just feel like shit. And he's like, you awake? I'm like, yeah, a little bit. He's like, did you stream last night? And I was like, I woke up. I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot. Son of a bitch, I fell asleep. I've not felt the greatest lately. It's nothing to be alarming. It's just like, I have a little stress headache that I've been having for the past few days. It's like right in the front, right here, kind of. And it's like my bone spur has been fucking with me too, because it's going up the back of my neck right in here too. So must have needed the sleep. I don't know, because I slept like shit. I truly did. Like, I don't know if I've been sleeping too hard or what, but I've just been sleeping like shit and I need to figure something out. My tummy's been hurting because I've been not eating right. Again. I had like 3 salads this week. And then we had Subway because we thought, we don't want to cook and Subway would be the better option. It's supposed to be healthier. But literally halfway through eating it, it made us feel like we were going to throw up. So we're just like, ugh. So back tonight for regular scheduled? Yes, we are going to be back on Blasphemous tonight. There's a couple things we need to finish up on. I don't know if I'll be streaming as long as I normally do, because we usually do like 3-hour streams, 4-hour streams, depending on Wednesday nights. So I'll probably do like half that, maybe. I need some rest. I need rest myself. Like, I've been pushing myself a little too much lately. I was supposed to record today. I'm not gonna do that. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. I'll probably record tomorrow and start editing videos for March. I need a break. I think I might cut some of the live streams down. Like I said, I wanted to do Monday streams with Retro Mondays with Conker's Bad Fur Day in the morning at 11:30 a.m. And then I wanted to do late night reading streams by like my normal time, 8:15 p.m. on Mondays for reading at least, and that'd be the only reading stream for the week. And then Wednesdays just stick to my usual Blasphemous streams, so. And as well as I need to get videos uploaded, edited and uploaded for Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, because I still need to put out the last Outlast Whistleblower DLC video. I've just been struggling. And the very few times that I've had time to relax, I choose to sit on Stardew Valley with my husband. I'm sorry, guys. Life has just been extremely difficult for so many this year. Yoshi! Stop destroying the carpet. But yeah, it's just been incredibly hard and difficult for everybody. We got Tuna's medication. Like, it's ordered, but it's gonna be $420, so I have enough on my care credit to spot the first round of meds, but during that month I need to research where I could find this medication for cheaper, because I found it through Chewy. I'm getting a 30 ml bottle for $420, or I can go through Chewy and get a 300 or a 15 ml bottle for $153. A lot of bad shit hit all at once. You're doing your best. I am doing my best, and I know a lot of other people are doing their best too, and I hope it just gets easier for everyone. Not once in my life have I ever believed when somebody said, oh, everybody's going through it, not just you. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I don't fucking see it, except this year. We're not even barely 3 months in a couple days. And I've noticed everyone that I know, personally and online, are struggling with something extremely difficult right now, whether it be money, health, animals, just mental issues, the toll, the stress, everything's piling up. And it's like, I want to read, but I also feel like sitting here and chatting because it's fun. But at least let's get one chapter in at least, you know, because I'd like to halfway through the book, guys. We're on chapter 28, and once we reach chapter 33, we'll be halfway through the book, and I'm so excited because I got some money, not from my friend sent me some money for snackies today. Ashley, I love you, thank you. But that's not the money I'm talking about. I just wanted to specify that. I have some money elsewhere that I had set aside for emergencies and random bit. It's not much, it's like $60. So I figured I'm gonna use a little bit of money out of that to order my book, The Electric Church by Jeff Sommers, so I could start doing my members only reading videos. And Peter, I think you might be happy to hear I am considering and most likely going to make a members only Discord. It'll just be you, me, and my husband, but hey, well, we got to find some things to post in there that are going to be a little out of the ordinary, so I think I might refrain. Everyone needs snackies. Exactly. Snackies are a godsend, you know, especially when you're feeling like shit. Oh, okay. I was like, it's just preparing an ad now. It's just said it's ready to run an ad now. But yeah, snackies help in moments like this. Always recommend that. But yeah, I'm considering doing a members only Discord. And I think I might stop posting my thumbnails in the regular Discord. Just completely nuke both of those channels, or at least keep them private for me, so because there's a lot of stuff in there that I've made that I want to keep. I'll probably just make those channels private for me, and I will start posting like thumbnails and exclusive pictures, morning pictures, like good morning, it's me, hi, or something like that. What would you want to see in a members only Discord, Peter? Since you're not only my VIP, but a channel member as well. And I appreciate you for that. It really helps, honestly. My goodness. I saw some people. Oh my god. I saw some people plug in their Spotify accounts to Twitch. I want to look into that because I just recently got on Spotify and started trying to make my own little thing. I made a cup of coffee. Really feel. It says, "You make every day a special day." It reminds me of Little Bear from Nickelodeon? Nickelodeon? Was Little Bear Nickelodeon? Oh, it was Nick Jr. Exclusive animal pics. Not very imaginative, but I like animal pics. Hey, I could do that. We could do an Only Pause channel and we'll just post beans. But yeah, Little Bear was a staple of the Nick Jr. block on Nickelodeon. I thought so. I remember Nick Jr. I love Nick Jr. My grandma, she used to take me to this her friend's house and called her Lindy. Her name was Linda. She took care of her sister. She was handicapped. Oh my god, it was just so much fun. Like, she had the tangerine Doritos all the time, and they would set me up with the tangerine Doritos in the living room, and it was, mind you, it was like old lady house, so it was all dark and like not damp, but dark and dank and just like beautiful and wood and like vintage couch shit. And I would always be posted right on the floor in front of that big ass fucking CRTV, just fucking watching Little Bear and Dick Jr. Everything on it. It was so much fun. So yeah, so we'll post in members only Discord. We will post. Peter, take notes if you can. Take notes in your phone notes or something, and then send them to me. You're my VIP. I'm putting you to use. But yeah, I put down members only Discord, YouTube thumbnails, exclusive morning pics and hellos. It's not gonna be dirty weirdos. And it's going to be exclusive animal pics. As per Peter, he wants to see the toe beans. Am I your secretary now? Would you like to be a secretary? Would you like to take notes for me? I don't know if it'll be a very good position, though. I can't pay you. You would just be having to work out of the kindness of your own heart. Alright, well, hold that thought, Peter. We're gonna get the rending. We're gonna get the reading. Rendering. My brain is rendering. Hold on. Alright. Let's get a drink of water real quick. Okay. Don't forget to tell me when ads pop up, because I don't want to be reading in the middle of ads. Alright, here we go. Chapter 28. Fair Kusat knocked on the door high inside the great pyramid of Shosendi. 2 knocks. Pause. 2. Pause. 1. When he and Dorian and Solon had been students at the Magi's School of Fire, they hadn't raided such prestigious rooms. But he and Dorian hadn't given the rooms now so much... But he and Dorian hadn't been given the rooms now so much to thank them for their historic services as to keep an eye on them. The door cracked open, and Dorian's eye appeared on the other side. Fair always thought it was funny. Dorian was a prophet. He could foretell the fall of a kingdom or the winner of a horse race. Excuse me. Or a horse race, a lucrative trick when Fair would convince him to do it. And he couldn't tell who was at his own door. He said the prophesizing concerning himself involved spiraling uncomfortably close to madness. Dorian ushered Fair inside and barred the door behind him. Fair felt him passing through an improbably high number of wards. He looked at them. A ward against eavesdropping he'd expected. A ward against entry was unusual to maintain when you were in the room yourself. But the true strange one was a ward to keep magic in. Fair fingered the threads of the weave, shaking his head in astonishment. Dorian was the kind of magus born once a generation. After studying at Hothsalar, the healer's school of Gandu, and mastering all that they had to teach him by the time he was 16, Dorian had come to the School of Fire and mastered fire magics while not even pretending to be interested in them. He only stayed because he'd become friends with Fair and Solon. Solon's talents were almost solely in fire, but he was the strongest of the 3. 1 second. Okay, my Twitch real quick on my other screen said offline but live, and I was like, huh? I will gladly pay you in animal pics, Peter. Thank you. Alright, let's get back to this. Solon's talents were almost solely in fire, but he was the strongest of the 3. Fair wasn't sure why the 2 had become friends with him. Maybe because he wasn't threatened by their excellence. They were so obviously the kind of men who'd been touched by the gods that Fair didn't even think to be jealous for a long time. Maybe it helped that he'd been born a peasant. It probably also helped that whenever he was struggling with his studies and started to be jealous, one or the other of his friends would suggest sparring with him. Fair looked fat, but he could move, and he trained daily with blade masters, who kept their central training facility mere minutes from Shosendi. For Solon and Dorian, to volunteer to spar with him was to volunteer for bruises. Dorian could heal bruises later, but they still hurt. Dorian had half-packed saddlebags opened on the bed. Fair sighed. You know the assembly's forbidden you to leave. They don't care about Cenaria. Honestly, if Solon weren't there, I wouldn't either. We could send him a message to leave. The school's leaders hadn't phrased it that way, of course. They were more worried about delivering the continent of Mid-Sirius only, perhaps the world's only, prophet into the God King's hand. You don't even know the best part yet, Dorian said, grinning like they were children. Fair felt the blood draining from his face. The wards to keep magic in the room suddenly made sense. You aren't planning to steal it. I could make the argument that it's ours. The 3 of us were the ones who tracked it, found it, and brought it back. They stole it from us first, Fair. You agreed it would be safer here. We let them take it from us. I'm taking it back, Dorian said, shrugging. So it's you against all the world again. It's me for all the world, Fair. Will you come with me? Come with you? Is this madness? When Dorian's gift for prophecy had surfaced, one of the first things he tried was to tell his own future. He learned that no matter what he did, he would go mad one day. Delving into his own future would only hasten that day's arrival. I thought you said you had still had a decade or so. Not so long now, Dorian said. He shrugged like it didn't matter, as if it didn't break his heart. Exactly the way he shrugged when he'd asked Solon to go to Sonaria, knowing it would cost Solon Kaid's love. Before you answer, Fair, know this. If you come with me, you will regret it many times, and you will never walk the halls of Shosendi. You make it such a convincing plea, Fair said, rolling his eyes. You will also save my life at least twice, own a forge, be known throughout the world as the greatest living weaponsmith, and have a small part in saving the world and die satisfied, if not nearly so old as you or I had hoped. Oh, that's better, Fair said sarcastically, but his stomach was doing flips. Dorian rarely told what he knew, but when he did, he never lied. Just a small part in saving the world? Fair, your purpose in life isn't your happiness. We're part of a much bigger story. Everyone is. If your part is unsung, does that make it worthless? Our purpose on this trip isn't to save Solon. It's to see a boy. We will face many dangers to get there. Death is a very real possibility. And do you know what that boy needs from us? 3 words. Maybe 2 if the name counts as only 1. Do you want to know what they are? Sure. Ask Mama K. That's it? What's it mean? Fair asked. I have no idea. Sometimes a seer could be a pain in the ass. You ask a lot from me, Fair said. Dorian nodded. I'll regret it if I say yes. Many times, but not in the end. Might be easier if you told me less. Believe me, Dorian said, I wish I didn't have such a clear view of what lies before you down each possible choice here. If I told you less, you would hate me for the holding back. If I told you more, you might not have the heart to carry on. Enough! Gods, was it going to be that bad? Fair looked at his hands. He'd have a forge. He'd be known throughout the world for his work. It'd been one of his dreams. Maybe he could even marry, have sons. He thought of asking Dorian, but didn't dare. He sighed and rubbed his temples. Dorian broke into a big smile. Good. Now help me figure out how we're going to get the Kurok out of here. Fair was sure he had misunderstood. Then he felt the blood draining from his face. There were wards on the door to keep magic in. When you say here, you mean here in the school, like I still have a chance to convince you not to try to steal the most guarded artifact in Mid-Siru, right? Dorian threw back the covers on the bed. There was a plain, sheathed sword on it. Looked entirely normal, except that the sheath was made entirely of lead, and it covered the sword entirely, even the hilt, damping the magic. But this wasn't just a magic sword. It was more like the magic sword. The magic sword. This was Kurok, Emperor Jorson Alceste's sword. The sword of power. Most magi weren't even strong enough to use it. If Fair, or most others, tried, it would kill him in a second. Dorian had even said Solon couldn't use it safely. But after Jorson Alceste's death, there had been quite a few magi who had been able to, and they'd destroyed more than one civilization. At first I thought I was going to have to prophesy my own future to get it, but instead I prophesied the guards. Everything would work perfectly, except one guard came down a hallway that he only had maybe a 1 in 1,000 chance of taking. I had to knock him out. The good news is, he's going to be nursed back to health by a lovely girl whom he'll later marry. You're telling me there's some guard unconscious upstairs right now just waiting to be found while we're talking? Why are you even doing this? Because he needs it. You're stealing Kurok for Ask Mama K, boy. Fair asked. Oh, no, well, not directly. The boy who needs to hold Kurok, the one the whole world needs to hold Kurok, isn't even born yet, but this is our only chance to take it. Gods, you're serious, Fair said. Stop pretending this changes anything. You've already decided. We're going to Sonaria. Sometimes a seer could be a pain in the ass. Try. Always. Damn. So I was trying to remember. I think Kurok actually goes to Kyler. Because I think that was like... I think Fair and Dorian's story took place before Kyler was even born. Well, like they're just gonna like take the story and we're just gonna like jump to the past real quick. And this is what happened during this time. You know, while Kyler was being made, they were probably stealing Kurok, and that's when Dorian was like, yeah, the boy's not even born yet, because ask Mama K. Who always asks Mama K? Brent or fucking Kyler. There's nobody else that goes to her, really. I mean, I think Jarl did, occasionally. I know Doll Girl stopped going to her. Alright, 25 minutes in. Oh man, I think we can get one more chapter in. I feel like crap, guys. I'm just so tired. Obviously, I can't stop yawning. I'm sorry. Might start calling you Mama K. Hey, you know what? That'd be funny. I like her. She's a brothel owner. She's a madame, actually. That's why they call her Mama K. Karina. Guinevere Karina. No, she's one of my favorite characters. I love her. She reminds me of like that caring brothel mother, you know, like I look out for my women, I look out for my girls, these are my daughters, you touch them wrong or you abuse them or harm them, you know. It's precious. Alrighty, let's get another chapter, guys, before we call it quits. Ah. Alright. Alright, so Brent is really angry right now, so I'm gonna do my best to channel emotion. Chapter 29. What is your problem? Master Brent screamed. I don't, Kyler said. Again! Brent roared. Kyler stopped the practice knife with an X block, crossing his wrist in front of him. He tried to grab Durzo's hand and twist, but the wet boy slipped aside. They ranged around the practice building of Brent's newest safe house, vaulting off walls, maneuvering each other into beams, attempting to use every uneven edge of the floor against each other. But the match was even. The 9 years Kyler had spent under Brent's tutelage had seen him harden and grow. He was maybe 20 now. He was still not as tall as Brent and never would be, but his body was lean and taut and his eyes were the same light blue. As he sweated and fought, every muscle in his arms, chest, and stomach was distinct and moving precisely to its task. But he couldn't make himself really engage. I have a coffee. Not doing anything. Durzo Brent saw it, and it infuriated him. Swearing long and eloquently, Master Brent compared his attitude unfavorably with the lack... Oh, wow, that's a big word. Hold on. Alright, lackadaisical? Lackadaisical. Lackadaisical, I think that's what it says.
Lackadaisical.
Lackadaisical. Okay. Lacking enthusiasm or determination, careless, lazy. Lackadaisical. Okay. Alright, so Master Brent compared his attitude unfavorably with the lackadaisial's prostitutes. His face with an unlikely and unhealthy body parts and his intelligence with several species of farm animals. When he attacked again, Kyler could see him mentally ratcheting up to the level. One of the many dangerous things about Master Brent was that even when he was furious, it never showed in his fighting. His fury would only be allowed expression after you were lying on the ground, usually bleeding. He moved Kyler across the open room slowly, hand clenched in a fist or extending in knife hand, the practice knife glittering in quick arcs and jabs. For a fraction of a second, he overextended a stab, and Kyler managed to slip around it and hit Master Brent's wrist. But Master Brent held onto the knife, and as he drew it back, the dull blade caught Kyler's thumb. That impatience cost you a thumb, boy. With his chest heaving, Kyler stopped, but he didn't take his eyes off Master Brent. They'd already practiced with swords of several kinds, with knives of varying lengths. Sometimes they fought with the same weapon, and sometimes they'd mismatch. Master Brent taking a double-edged broadsword against a Gandian blade, or Kyler taking a stiletto against a Gurkha. Anyone else would have lost the knife, Kyler said. You're not fighting anyone else. I wouldn't fight you if you were armed, and I wasn't. Master Brent drew back the knife and threw it past Kyler's ear. Kyler didn't flinch. It wasn't that he didn't still wonder sometimes if Master Brent was going to kill him. It was that he knew he couldn't stop him. When Brent attacked again, it was full speed. Kick met with stop kick. Punches were diverted. Jabs dodged. Blows absorbed against arms, legs, and hips. There were no tricks, nothing showy, just speed. In the midst of the flashing limbs, as usual, Kyler realized that Master Brent would win. The man was simply better than Kyler. It was usually about now that Kyler would try something desperate. Master Brent would be waiting for it. Kyler unleashed a storm of blows fast and light as a mountain breeze. None of them alone would hurt Master Brent, even if they connected, but any would cause him to miss the next. Kyler fought faster and faster, each blow being brushed aside or only connecting with flesh tensed for the impact. One low spear hand got through, jabbing Master Blint's abdomen. As he hunched over involuntarily, Kyler went for a full strike on Blint's chin, then stopped. Blint lashed up fast enough that he would have blocked the strike, but with no contact where he'd expected it. He brought the block too far, and couldn't bring his hand back before Kyler lashed his full-cocked fist at his nose. But Kyler's strike didn't catch Master Blint. It was brushed aside by an unseen force like an invisible hand. Stumbling, Kyler tried to recover and block Durzo's kick, but it blew through his hands with superhuman force. Kyler smashed into the beam behind him so hard that he heard it crack. He dropped to the ground. "Your turn," Blint said. "If you can't touch me, I'll have a special punishment for you." "Special punishment?" Beautiful. Hunched on the ground with both arms throbbing. Kyler didn't answer. He stood, but when he turned, in Blint's place stood Logan. But the sneer on Logan's face was all Durzo Blint. It was an illusion 7 feet tall, matching Blint's moves precisely. Kyler kicked viciously at his knee, but his foot went right through the figure, shattering the illusion and touching nothing at all. Blint stood 2 feet behind it. As Kyler staggered off balance, Blint raised a hand. With a whoosh, a phantom fist shot from his hand and knocked Kyler off his feet. Kyler bounced back to his feet in time to see Blint leap. The ceiling was 12 feet high, but Blint's entire back hit it and stuck to it. He started crawling and then disappeared as shadows writhed over him and merged with the greater darkness at the ceiling. First, Kyler could hear Blint moving to a spot above him, then the sound cut off abruptly. Blint's talent was covering even the scuffing sound of brushing against wood. Moving constantly, Kyler searched the ceiling for any shadow out of place. "Scarred rabble can even throw his voice or any other sound," Blint said from the far corner of the ceiling. "I wonder if you could." Kyler saw, or thought he saw, the shadow moving back toward him. He flung a throwing knife at the shadow, and it burst apart, leaving his knife quivering in the wood. Another illusion. Kyler turned slowly, trying to hear the slightest sound out of place over the pounding of his heart. The slight brush of cloth hitting the floor behind him made him spin and lash out, but there was nothing there except Blint's tunic and a pile on the floor. A thump announced Blint himself landing behind Kyler. Kyler spun around once more. Something caught his left hand, and then his right. Master Blint stood bare-chested, a dead look in his eyes, his real hands at his side. Kyler's wrists were held in the air by magic. Slowly, his arms were pulled apart until he was spread eagle, then further. Kyler held his silence for as long as he could, then screamed as if he felt his joints on the verge of dislocating. The bonds dropped and Kyler crumpled, defeated. Durzo shook his head in disappointment, and Kyler attacked. His kick slowed as it approached Durzo's knee, as if it were sinking into a spring, then bounced back, spinning him hard and throwing him in the tangle to the floor. "Do you see what just happened?" Durzo asked. "You kicked my ass again," Kyler said. "Before that, I almost hit you," Kyler said. "You fooled me and you would have destroyed me, but I used my talent and you still refused to use yours. Why?" "Because I'm broken." Since meeting Drissanile 4 years ago, Kyler had thought 100 times about telling Durzo Blint what she'd told him, but he didn't have a conduit and it couldn't be fixed. But the rules had always been clear. Kyler became a wet boy or he died. And as Blint had just proved again, Kyler wouldn't be a wet boy without the talent. Telling Blint the truth had always seemed like a quick way to die. Kyler had tried everything to get his talent to work or to learn about anything that might help, but had found nothing. Blint breathed deeply when he spoke again. His voice was calm. "Time for some truth, Kyler. You're a good fighter, deficient still with pole arms and clubs and crossbows," and he was starting to lecture but noticed it. "Regardless, you're as good at hand-to-hand fighting and with those Surin hand-and-half swords you like as any fighter I've seen. Today you would have had me. You won't win next time, but you'll start winning. Your body knows what to do, and your mind has got it mostly figured out. In the next few years, your body will get a bit faster, a bit stronger, and you'll get cleverer by half. But your weapons training is finished, Kyler. The rest is practice." "And?" Kyler asked. "Follow me. I've got something that may help you." Kyler followed Blint to his workroom. This one was smaller than the one Azoth had first seen in Blint's old safe house. 7 p.m. I should probably start thinking about what to eat for dinner. I'm starting to feel hungry. You should probably get some dinner, yeah. Go think about dinner right now. Azoth had first seen in Blint's old safe house, but at least his house had doors between animals' pens and the work area. It smelled much better. It was also familiar now. The books lining the shelves were like old friends. He and Blint had even added dozens of recipes to them. In the past 9 years, he had come to appreciate Blint's mastery of poisons. Every wet boy used poisons, of course. Hemlock and bloodflower and mandrake root and ariamu were all local and fairly deadly. But Blint knew hundreds of poisons. There were entire pages of his books crossed out, notes scrawled in Durzo's tight, angular hand. Full dilutes the poison. Other entries were amended from how long it took the poison to take effect to what the best method of delivery were, to how to keep the plants alive in foreign climes. Master Blint picked up a box. Sit. Tyler sat at the high table, propping an elbow on the wood and holding his chin. Blint upended the box in front of him. A white snake slid onto the table with a thump. Kyler barely had time to register what it was before it struck at his face. He saw his mouth open, huge fangs glittering. He was moving back, but too slowly. Then the snake disappeared and Kyler was falling backward off the stool. He landed flat on his back, but bounced up to his feet in an instant. Blint was holding the snake behind the head. He had grabbed it out of the air while it was striking. Do you know what this is, Kyler? It's a white asp. It's one of the most deadly snakes in the world. They were small, rarely growing longer than a man's forearms, but those they bit died within seconds. No, it's the price of failure, Kyler. You fight as well as any non-talented man I've ever seen, but you're no wet boy. You've mastered the poisons. You know the techniques of killing. Your reaction speed is peerless. Your instincts are good. You hide well, disguise well, fight well. But doing those things well isn't shit. It's nothing. An assassin does those things well. That's why assassins have targets. Wet boys have debtors. What do we call them? Why do we call them debtors? Because when we take a contract, the rest of their short lives is a formality. You have the talent, Kyler, but you aren't using it. You won't use it. I've seen a little of what I have to teach you, but I can't teach it to you until you tap your talent. I know, Kyler said, refusing to meet his master's gaze. The truth is, Kyler, I didn't need an apprentice when you came along. Never did. But I heard a rumor that an ancient artifact was hidden in Sonaria. The silver Kakari. They say Ezra the Mad himself made it. It's a small silver ball. But when you bond it, it makes you impervious to any blade and it extends your life indefinitely. You can still be killed any way that doesn't involve metal. But immortality, Kyler. And then you came along. Do you know what you are? Did that Maha Drissanile tell you? Durzo knew about Drissanile? She said I was broken. The Kakari were made for people broken like you are. There's supposed to be an attraction between people who are vastly talented but don't have a conduit and the Kakari. You were supposed to call it, Kyler. You don't know how to bond it. So you'd call it, hand it over, and it'd be immortal. And I'd still be broken, Kyler said bitterly. Once I had it, we could have Drissanile study it. She's a great healer. Even if it took her a few years, it would have been fine. But we're running out of time, Durzo said. Do you know why I can't just let you be an assassin? Even now, he sneered. Tyler had wondered 100 times, of course, but he'd always figured it was something because Blint's pride wouldn't let him have failed a pride. Wow, I had a stroke there. My bad. I've had plenty of snakes as pets, actually. I had a 4-foot ball python. Yeah. I had a small baby ball python, too. I've also caught red racers and king snakes, gopher snakes. I love snakes. I love reptiles. Okay. Kyler had wondered 100 times, of course, but he'd always figured it was because Blint's pride wouldn't have let him have a failed apprentice. Our talent allows us to swear a magically binding oath of service to the Shinga. It keeps the Shinga safe, and it keeps us above suspicion. It's a weight compulsion, but to break it, a wet boy would have to submit himself to a mage or a meister, and all the mages in the city work for the Sakage, and only an idiot would submit to a meister. You've become a skilled assassin, Kyler, and it's making the Shinga nervous. He doesn't like being nervous. Why would I ever do anything against the Shinga? It would be signing my own death warrant. That's not the point. Shingas who aren't paranoid don't live long. How could you never tell me all this? Kyler demanded. All the times you've beaten me for not using my talent, it's like beating a blind man because he can't read. Your desperation to use your talent is what calls the Kakari. I was helping you, and I'm going to help you some more. He gestured to the snake in his hand. This is motivation. It's also the kindest poison I know. Master Blint held Kyler with his eyes. Getting that Kakari has always been your final test, boy. Get it, or else. The air took on a chill. There it was. Kyler's last warning. Master Blint put away the snake, collected a few of his weapons, grabbed the bag he already had packed, and picked retribution off its pegs on the wall. He checked the big black blade, then slid it back into its scabbard. I'm going to be gone for a while, he said. I'm not coming with you? You'd get in the way. Get in the way? Casual way Blint said it hurt almost as much as the fact that it was true. Chapter 30. I'm going to call it there, though. I'm feeling like crap. Poo poo. But yeah, I love snakes, Peter. Snakes are amazing. Highly recommend owning one. Ball pythons are the easiest. They really are. Or corn snake. Corn snakes are adorable. I always had an opportunity to own a red-tailed boa. My brother had one. She was beautiful. Oh my god, you guys. I hope it was an okay reading stream. I know it's not very long. But I have a nice hot bubble bath calling my name to relax, because, fun fact, if you're not feeling good, you have an anxiety, you have access to a bath, take a hot bath. Like, throw some Dr. Teal's, you know, aromatherapy stuff in there too, some bubble bath or Epsom salts. At least sit for an hour, even if you have to drain the water a few times or once or twice or whatever, sit for at least an hour in that hot water. It resets your body and makes you feel better. It really does. I did some research on that too. I was like, why do hot baths help anxiety so much? And I guess the warmth of it helps your body kind of relax a little bit, because when you get anxiety, everything tenses up like fucking sucks. But yeah, I wasted a cup of coffee. We got through 2 chapters today. I'm gonna go spend the rest of the day relaxing so I can be okay for tonight's stream at 6 p.m. because we got a lot to do on Blasphemous. Well, we do. We're not gonna do a lot tonight. Peter, you go get your food and get some dinner in ya and have a great rest of your night. And everybody else that is here, I will see you back tonight at 6 p.m. Thanks for stopping by. And I'm sorry things have been so wacky lately, but I appreciate y'all. Love you, community. Join the Discord. I'll see you soon.